I could tell me that I'm fly. Go live. I definitely have this open. Good morning, gamers. We back. Biggest flexer of the internet. Feeling absolutely massive. I actually feel like shit today. I'm so sore. Bringing the Pengus back. You know, we got my Pengu on the left. Fucking sipping on that tea because we about to discuss some massive tea today. We got some drama going on with the Azuki community. Okay, I knew that was gonna happen. All right, oopsie. Good morning, good morning, good morning, good morning. And yeah, some charts. Charts are gonna be the same thing they've been for the last X amount of time. Other than that, we do got quite a bit of NFT news, a little bit of gaming news, some ZK Sync, hello, some ZK Sync airdrop, a few tokens that I've been speaking about will be spoken about. BlackRock. I have a whole segment on BlackRock. So yeah, it'll be an interesting day. Got some topics to cover. Let's already get into the charts. I hope everybody's doing well today. I got a little bit of a headache low key, but let's fucking run it. Oops, not that. One second. That. All right, wait. Actually, wait. I'm terrible. Mr. Producer here is not doing his Mr. Producer jobs. All right, there we go. Now let's get to the charts. Let's start with a weekly, as per usual. As per the usual, start with a weekly. What has changed the weekly? Absolutely nothing. Waiting for volatility expansion. We do have that. Yesterday was the close on the weekly, so we do have this hidden bullish divergence confirmed, which is a trend continuation signal, and trend has been up. So what does that mean? It means trend probably continues up, as I keep saying, and very bullish. Other than that, the pivot is 29.6, so as long or 29.4. So as long as we close above 29.4, we are above this bullish pivot, and it's a very good sign. 5-day, the pivot is 26.6, which we are way above. Volatility is starting to expand. We're above 10 on this close. We get above like 15.20, and we are fully confirmed 100%. And but this is a very good sign. We are seeing volatility expand. We get one more big week here to like anywhere above. Wait, let me pull up the Bollinger Bands so we get an idea of fuck. Wait, let me pull up the Bollinger Bands on the 5-day. So Moon through. Yeah, facts. Yeah, so as long as we close pretty much above these Bollinger Bands on this 5-day or the next 5-day, pretty much confirms expansion. And like, what does that mean? It means basically any close above 32. We're looking for a close above this purple zone, and we've pretty much fully confirmed the expansion phase of this move. And on the 5-day, like closing the 5-day above 32, and then it's very very bula. Looking for at least 38 as a target, potentially all the way up to 44 to 48, but I'll look at 38, and then I'll reevaluate what's going on at that point. Let's start going to lower time frames. So 2-day, we are still in this expansion. The pivot is 27.3, so we want to stay above that. Daily, we're probably seeing volatility we're seeing volatility go sideways. The pivot is 30.8, so we do got to stay above this pivot in order to be bullish or get above it. So I do expect more consolidation on this daily. 12-hour, probably the same story. Yeah, so the pivot is 30.775. So 30,700, 30,800. And overall, we are seeing volatility already start to contract, which is a very good sign. I don't know how low it's gonna go. I personally think what's gonna happen is we're probably gonna start expanding already, like within the next few days. Personally, that's what I think is possible. That's a scenario. The other scenario is we come all the way down on the 12-hour, all the way to the bottom of volatility, and we take like a week break, and then next week we start pumping. So, which is why I think the possibility is at the end of this week we could start pumping, or we come all the way down and fully reset, and we start pumping at the start of next week, the middle of next week, somewhere around that. Maybe even the end of next week, which is a potential scenario. Uh, I don't really see any reason to be bearish here because we haven't like broken any areas of key support, not even close. We're not even below 29.8, which is a very strong sign. 4-hour volatility has pretty much fully reset, which is a good sign. It means we can continue up. There is a lot of dry powder waiting to go up. The pivot point is 30.382, so we're right below that right now. So we're not going to turn up just about now. A good sign also would be if we get Jewel to come all the way below 35. Jewel below 35 on the 4 hour, plus in an uptrend as strong as this, and then Jewel starts to turn up below this 35 level, will be a very strong sign, because we are in such a strong bull trend, and we've pulled back so much. We've gone sideways and consolidated so much to the downside, where we have fully reset, and they're in a very strong position. We can have another very powerful move up. Look at the last two moves when we were below that, as a reference. We did move up after this move at least like 5%, and after this one we did move like 2%, which isn't as good. But this one did signify. All right, this one was during a downtrend, so you don't expect it to be as strong. While this one ended up signaling the end of the downtrend, which there were other reasons to believe it was the end, but this did eventually lead into a 20% move overall. Obviously, if you took that signal, you probably wouldn't have traded it like that, but it was a very bullish signal overall. And in an uptrend, these Jewel signals are a lot more powerful when they follow the trend. So in a downtrend, so for example, like here, Jewel is super overextended during this overall downtrend, and you see Jewel get super overextended during this downtrend, and then it ends up rejecting like 10 to 12% at the end of it. If you're trading, you probably would have caught like a 5% move, which is pretty solid. So you usually want to go with the trend on these things. The trend is super bullish right now, and the 4 hour looks very strong. 1 hour, we just fully consolidated. Pretty boring. I would expect more sideways on this. The pivot is 3,380, so we are below. That's basically the same pivot as the 4 hour. This could become bearish, but I don't think this time frame is super relevant right now. 30-minute, again, same thing. Just we're going sideways. We're seeing all EMAs just cross. We're gonna see them cross back and forward on the 15 if we go all the way. More sideways. So let me just pull it up here. Something I do think is potentially interesting on this time frame is what you've been seeing is ever since. So let me hide this and this so we could take a better look. So something that I just want to call out is that Crown called out on the 15-minute that I thought was super interesting is that usually after a very powerful move up, so like a very bullish, like for example in this scenario we did look pretty bearish, and then we ended up completely trend reversing to be very bullish. So we were pretty bearish here, or we were down only trend, and then we ended up trend reversing in this sharp move up. And what usually ends up happening is a lot of these 15-minute signals end up becoming like they end up having a very high hit rate afterwards after one of these situations. So I just want to call it out really quickly, where every time, like for example, there's a signal where basically Jewel below 35. So I mean, this is all right. So this is before. So I guess we'll call the first one here. The exit signal would have been here on PMARP, and that would have gotten you a. Let's say you traded it perfectly. You got at least a 1% move. Next one was here. This one would have resulted probably in a loss. I'm looking at it. No, you would have exited here. So this would have been more like a break even, maybe a loss on fees. Oh, well, it said up 0.75. Well, I'm so zoomed out. No, this one would have been a break even trade. And then this one would have ended up definitely being a winner. Your exit would have been all the way over here. Wait, is that it? No, it would have been all the way. Yeah, it would have been all the way here. So you would have gotten a 10% win, or not 10%, like a 2% win. And then, so like what I'm highlighting is once we're in such a strong uptrend, usually all the long only signals like work, like a lot of the time, and vice versa. The other way around, on a strong downtrend, usually a lot of these short signals end up playing like very powerfully. And I mean, I could keep going, but you kind of get the point. It's pretty similar from here on out. I think this one results in a break even. Pretty much, maybe you lose on fees, and then this one you end up winning pretty strong on. This one, if you take it, you end up winning pretty strong on, and this trend started to reverse. But right after one of these big moves, even though we did grind more sideways than we went up, you do end up seeing these long only strategies play out very well afterwards. And it just shows how powerful trend is in the grand scheme of things. Even after funding rates, which I guess I'll get into now, funding rates have been like super positive during this entire time. but we're more consolidating than anything, and open interest has come down a decent amount where we're generally just consolidating, but everybody's so bullish overall, or the market is so bullish overall that these long signals do play out very well. So just a piece of advice for if you're trading. And let's talk about funding rates really quickly. I don't think they're super relevant right now. They're not super interesting. We did have a very strong uptrend, which I did mention that funding rates do kind of become bullshit when it comes to trend. Trend always wins at the end of the day. And I am looking for funding to go negative. I am seeing a lot of bearishness on CT. Like, people think that we're more likely to go back to 25 than 35. I saw it on Benjamin Cohen. I don't know if you know him. He's like a data YouTuber. And on one of his, he put like a post on his YouTube where it was like, what do you think comes first, 25,000 or 35,000? And it was literally 50-50. And that is honestly so bearish to me that it is a very good sign. And I think once we see people start to get bored again, I think we're going to end up. So I started calling for the next move up at the end of this week. I think it's going to take a little bit longer. But I think next week we're going to get our move up. And when that ends up happening, we're probably going to see funding go all the way negative. We're going to see open interest start to build up into that move. And if we get like even a slight negative on open interest, or not open on funding rates, then that will be like your bullish signal to like you should take that ASAP as soon as you see that. And how likely do I think that's going to happen? I think it's fairly likely. I mean, this is the scenario that I expect to play out. This is what I expect to play out. Obviously, if we start to reverse and we start getting below like 28.5 and things start to look like really bad, then I would be reevaluating the situation. But for now, what do I expect? I expect sideways until probably next week at this point. And because what is it? Today's Monday. Wait, today's only a Monday? Interesting. I thought today was like a Wednesday or something. Today's only a Monday, so maybe by the end of this week, or like the end of this week or the start of next week, so probably like Thursday, Friday, or maybe not Thursday, because Thursdays are usually a bear day, but Friday and then Friday or Monday, Tuesday, I would expect us to go sideways until then, and then once we get to that time, I do expect like market to have made its decision, and we're gonna like the next move is gonna happen very fast and very violently to the upside or to the downside. But I think the upside, everything points to the upside. All the news points to the upside. All the data generally points to the upside. So, I mean, I could talk about the news now. Let's get into it. So, let's talk about BlackRock. I'm not going to read this article, but somebody linked it. A friend of mine linked this to me. I thought it was super interesting. You can go and read about BlackRock itself. This is the Twitter account. It's a very interesting article. It already got 5,000 likes in the last like 15 hours. And something he said two things that struck out to me by far the most. One, so as Eric Balkunas rightly points out, BlackRock filing for a Bitcoin spot ETF is a big deal. But what does the firm think about digital assets generally? So they think that for the asset management industry, we believe the operational potential of some of the underlying technologies in the digital asset space could have exciting applications. In particular, the tokenization of asset classes offers the prospect of driving efficiencies in capital markets, shortening value chains, and improving costs and access for investors. Now, if you missed my rant yesterday about the future of digital currencies, I talk about how the financial markets' goal is to become as efficient as possible, maximize efficiency. And BlackRock here are talking about the exact same topic, how the blockchain allows for further optimizations and further efficiency improvements in these operations. And at the end of the day, I think the blockchain is just the next step for the financial markets, and I think tokenizing your stocks, tokenizing your assets is just a very natural next step in the evolution of financial assets and instruments. And I think it's more of a matter of when it happens than a matter of will it. Unless, of course, crypto gets banned by the whole world, but that's a very different scenario, and I find that very unlikely, especially if BlackRock are getting into Bitcoin. All right. The other part that struck out to me was that, all right, so basically BlackRock are very obviously working with Coinbase, and they're very supportive of Coinbase. For their spot ETF, Coinbase will be the asset managers in terms of or the custodians. They'll be the asset custodians. So BlackRock will basically keep their Bitcoins on Coinbase. And something that struck out to me very interestingly is that BlackRock do have a lot of power in the government, and basically they could say stuff to the government, and because they hold so many assets, and the government will they either pay someone off like some hush money or whatever, and the government will always like listen to them, like almost always. It makes it super interesting because you're seeing two things play out. BlackRock are super invested in Circle and what's her name, Coinbase. So that means they don't want any other opponents to USDC, which is USD coins by Circle, USD Circle. And what does that mean? It means that the SEC do have a reason to go after Tether, USDT. And the other thing that was super interesting is because, of course, obviously they're super supportive of Coinbase. They have a reason to get, and BlackRock want to be the sole leaders in Bitcoin and other like crypto assets. They do have a reason to go after Binance because Binance is the only other superpower right now that has a ton of control over crypto, and Binance and CZ are a big risk to BlackRock's goal of controlling crypto by themselves. So it does make sense why the SEC, the government, is coming after Binance and Tether. Now, I don't really think they'll be able to get rid of Tether because people use it so much, but I do think they can cause a lot of issues for Binance. And I do think that it will cause at least American money, like burger money, as we like to call it, will end up leaning towards the US dollar rather than, not the US dollar, will lean towards BlackRock and whatever BlackRock invests in rather than Binance, especially if they ban Binance fully from America, which it looks like it's on track to happen. All right, let's continue. All right, Hong Kong's largest bank, HSBC, to offer Bitcoin Ethereum ETFs to customers. Very interesting. Just more bullish news as I keep talking about. Markets are very bullish. Next article, Germany central bank. All right, so let's move. We're gonna transition a little bit from like crypto news to a little bit just general markets, and then after general markets, we'll talk about specific altcoin news, and then we'll get into my altcoin picks of the day. So Germany's central bank may need a bailout to cover losses of 650 billion on the debt it hoovered up. So you are, after they printed so much money, they do have problems with the government. So just another reason to be a little bit bearish. A lot of these banks, and just be very wary of or not these banks, but these like these central banks, and just be very wary of what a lot of these governments are doing because a lot of this inflation stuff is not going to end well. I keep talking about it. These high interest rates plus inflation still being so high and being so sticky is not going to end well, and I'll talk about it a little bit more in a second. I got some more topics. So breaking. UK inflation is running so high that the government is considering blocking pay rises for millions of public workers amid concern that they could push prices higher. So basically how inflation works is usually prices increase and then demand decreases when prices increase. And then when the government wants, and then once pay increases, then it'll make up for the demand loss, so demand catches up. But the other way around can happen where if pay increases and then demand increases, then eventually supply decreases. All right. Anyways, this is a bunch of this like econ 101 shit. But at the end of the day, what's going to end up happening is if you pay people more, then those people will continue buying more stuff, and then it'll cause demand to like kind of like go in this, or not demand, it'll cause inflation to go in the cyclical circle where if at the end of the day, it just keeps going higher and higher and just becomes a massive mess until somebody goes broke. And it's not a pretty like situation to be in. So UK are thinking about blocking pay rises in order to stifle this inflation. And that is really not good for a lot of public workers, and I don't know, it just sounds like a very messy situation, and it's why you never want to deal with inflation in the first place. Good luck to UK. So like I'll explain at the end why these all kind of go towards my thesis here. Let me talk about this one. So I do have this. All right. So U.S. homeowners are in great financial shape. This isn't 2008. U.S. homeowners searching Google this month. So number one to actually relate to this topic, I'll explain this. Yeah, it's called PennyMac. If you don't know what PennyMac is, they were founded in 2008 during the subprime mortgage crisis by Stanford Curlin, the former president of Countrywide Financial, with financial support from BlackRock and Highfields Capital Management. So PennyMac Financial Services, they have something to do like mortgages and stuff, and they are the number one option. And number two, can I sell my house if it isn't for foreclosure? Number three, sell my house fast Phoenix. Number four, sell my house fast Arlington. Number five, sell my house fast Milwaukee. Home equity loan, no credit check. Best home equity loans in Texas. Can I get a home equity loan with bad credit? Do you see how bad these search terms are? I'm talking about a Q3 crash. I've been talking like if you want to go watch my stream yesterday, I do have a highlight clips on Twitter. You can go watch those highlight clips. I do have a set of clips where I talk about a Q4 crash in the stock market. And if you look at how sticky inflation is, and you look at how high interest rates are and how much people are paying on these interest rates on their loans and their bad credit that they didn't pay off, and well, it's not really bad credit on their credit card statements and on their housing, on everything. People are paying so much that I do think this ends up causing a liquidity crisis in Q4, and we're going to see it, and it's going to take some time to play out, but housing is usually the first one to feel it. And when we see it happen in Q4, it's going to be a big mess. And it does go into my Q4 thesis where I do think we end up being bearish. So let me pull up the weekly chart on the stock market. Although to me, this does look like a little bit of a bull trap. We haven't confirmed. We're not even close to confirming it, and we can go higher. But as soon as we get below this 4,100 level, that signals to me that we're about to have a pretty big crash, at least to the lows that we hit back here, 3,500, maybe lower. I don't want to call for levels when it's that far ahead, but we are seeing a lot of the news cycle on this liquidity crisis start to play out already, and it does play into my Q4 thesis that we do get a stock market crash, and it does pull back crypto. I do have another thesis that plays in with crypto, where I do think we end up playing this another like 30% move from this level. So was that between 38 to 42, and then after that we're gonna pull back about 30-40%. So let's say back to 25. So I personally think we're gonna go 38 and then 25,000, and I think a lot of this is gonna be fueled by the way Bitcoin has operated in the past. It usually ends up doing this just historically, as well as I do think the stock market does get very messy. So that's the scenario that I keep talking about. But all these news articles are just further all these like news statistics are just further like proof that this is a likely scenario. It is possible. Now, of course, we're so far away that it's hard to just be like, yeah, it's 100% happening. Obviously, we don't know yet. But I do think this is something to watch out for, and if it does play out, then you should be very careful. US dollars are so scarce to Argentina that yuan use is at a record per Bloomberg. I just think this is interesting. It shows a little bit of a flippening with China and US dollars. Of course, this is partially at the fault of America, but it is quite shocking to see a South American country, something so close to us. To be fair, China isn't even that far, it's just across the ocean, but something so close to us using yuans so significantly. All right, let's start moving into tech corner, like crypto tech corner, I guess. We'll talk about Coinbase really quickly, and then I'll get into specific coins. But if you're bullish coin stock, which honestly, if you're bullish crypto, you should be very bullish coin stock, since they're clearly the chosen ones by BlackRock. BlackRock are using them as their custodians for their ETF, their Bitcoin ETF. But Coinbase CEO Brian Armstrong imagines a future where it will be used not just for money and assets, but also for social interactions. We want to be that super app, but it's all going to be based on these decentralized protocols. I think it's super interesting. I don't know how much decentralized protocol should like actually play into like social media and other stuff, but it'll be interesting to see how this plays out. So good luck to Armstrong. As well as something I do want to mention when it comes to coin stock is you are seeing a lot of these ETFs be Bitcoin related, but something that's going to be 10 times more interesting than Bitcoin ETFs are Ethereum ETFs. And the reason why is because Ethereum is not only a massive coin. Obviously, like you look at total one, this is what is this, all coins, and then total 3, which is minus Bitcoin minus Ethereum, is literally a quarter of all the crypto combined, or is literally a quarter of Earth. All right. All the other cryptos, total 3, is literally a third of Bitcoin, Ethereum combined. So which shows how supermassive Bitcoin, Ethereum are together. They're literally 2/3 of the crypto market right now. But Ethereum, unlike Bitcoin, has an actual yield. You can take your Ethereum tokens as a custodian. You can take everybody's Ethereum tokens. You can just lock it up and stake it. And guess what you can do on that stake Ethereum? You can earn fees, and that's very profitable. You can get like 3 to 5% APIs, which I'll actually talk about in a second, and APYs. And just in general, as a custodian for an ETF or an Ethereum ETF, especially a spot one, you so want to have a bunch of people put their money into your Ethereum ETF because you can also earn a free 5% yield on that ETH. So whatever ETH does, you basically get another 5% of that ETH every year. And that is like an insane scenario to have as an Ethereum custodian. You want that. So that's pretty bullish for Coinbase in the future, since clearly if BlackRock want to use Coin as their custodian for Bitcoin, they probably will use them as their custodian for Ethereum. And they start generating real revenue on top of the fact that they earn fees on their custodian on their Ethereum. And it just becomes a very bullish scenario for both Ethereum as well as Coinbase, and BlackRock get to make a fuck ton of money. So they're going to love that. And a lot of these asset managers are going to absolutely love to have a Ethereum ETF. All right, so let's get to Tech Corner. I guess we'll start with this. Keyboard Monkey was like, ordinals won't be a word in 2 weeks. This was in February, and ordinals are bigger than ever today. Just thought it was funny. More Keyboard Monkey flame. I don't know why I like to flame this guy so much, but I guess I do. I'm not gonna linger on that one. A $31,000 claim from FTX was tokenized as an NFT and uses collateral for 7,500 DeFi loan on Arcade. So this is a very interesting. It does show like the versatility of blockchain technology. However, something it does show also is how I'm not gonna use that word. How fucking stupid the DeFi loaner, whoever loaned for the collateral is, because realistically, are you going to get your money back from FTX? There's about a 20% chance. And obviously that 20% chance is math in the 7,500 DeFi loan. But there is, like, that's such a gamble that you just could straight up lose $7,500 for literally nothing. Maybe this guy's a genius. Maybe I'm absolutely wrong and FTX come back. But I think the odds of FTX come back low enough where you should never take that DeFi gamble. However, the person who did take out this loan is a genius, because now he gets to use he gets to get access to some of his money back instead of just losing everything. So good for him. Very good for him. Top LSD players staking APRs. So with LSDFi, you have a few projects. You have Lido, you have Coinbase, you have Rocket Pool, and you have Frax. And Frax is one of my chosen tokens on the channel. And I think Frax is very interesting because they have their Frax token connected to their Frax stablecoin, as well as you can lock it up and get you can lock up ETH and you get a yield on top of that. And if you notice, Frax Ether does have by far the highest APR at 5.2%, which is very, very nice, versus Lido's 3.8, Coinbase 3.26, and Coinbase, by the way, are taking a 25% fee. So, and then Rocket Pool are 3.11, which are actually quite low. But the thing is, Lido do control 75% of the market, while Frax only control 2%. So it really shows how much growth Frax have, and they are one of my tokens. They're not my token of the day today, but they are one of the tokens that I've mentioned on this channel and put into my DCA portfolio. So if you do want to get some of these picks early on, watch the channel and hit the like button, subscribe, and whatever. But yeah, just a heads up that it really shows how much potential Frax have, because their APR is so high that people could just continue using them more and more in order to get a higher yield, and at a relatively safe yield. It's not like an insane 20% yield where they're probably doing something scammy. It's 5% yield on top of like some Ethereum stuff on the network, on top of Ethereum staking. Near Foundation, the nonprofit behind the development of the Near protocol system, says joining with Alibaba Group Cloud, the Chinese tech giant's arm for computing at storage, to accelerate Web3's growth. So basically, the Near Foundation are now working at Alibaba and with Alibaba. So I don't know if Near were always a Chinese coin. I'm actually curious how Near are doing today. So I'm going to pull that up really quickly. But Near are working with China. Yeah, they're probably up insanely on the day, I guess. What are they up on the day? 13%. Very nice. Very nice on them. So they're now a part of Alibaba, so good luck to them. And it really shows how China are really getting into the crypto race and are pretty into it. So really China trying to accelerate its growth in crypto, while America is actually finally, with BlackRock getting into it, are finally starting to get into it, but it is a very slow process. And my last coin that I want to talk about until my DCA is ZK Sync. So ZK Sync is a ZK rollup, and there's a few reasons to be bullish them, but the the first thing is that they do have an airdrop coming up, so that airdrop will be super interesting. It'll be live between 2 to 3 months from now, and in general, ZK, if you look at previous airdrops, so you look at Optimism, you look at Arbitrum, they ended up being very profitable situations if you ended up having multiple wallets on them, or if you ended up doing all the tasks involved. Now, what tasks do you need with ZK Sync? There are a few things you can do. You can use their zinc swap, you can use their bridge, and you can try out their track tools. I doubt that one's as much, but you can just try. And my advice is just swap a token or two and then try out one of their bridges or two. And as long as you usually bridge money with like a few wallets, this ends up being really well, like this ends up being very profitable. And if you look at the Arbitrum airdrop, if you farm, if like the Arbitrum airdrop ended up being super profitable, the Optimism one ended up being pretty profitable. So my advice is you should start to like try to farm this one and try to get into it. And why am I so bullish ZK Sync? Well, one, it's ZK Rollup. I'm really bullish ZK Rollup technology, as well as ZK Sync are launching the rival to Optimism's Op Stack. So it's called their ZK Stack or their Hyper Stack. So Matter Labs are proposing this framework for building independent hyperchains powered by ZK knowledge proofs. What does this mean? It means that anyone and everyone can go and take their stack and then build their own ZK rollup on Ethereum or on any EVM network, as long as the consensus layer does not matter as long as the actual the tech layer is the same. So as long as it's an EVM, the consensus layer can be anything, and you can adapt it towards ZK Sync's their tech stack, ZK stack, and this is similar to Optimism. So Optimism have their Optimism stack, and there's only two real types of rollups to Ethereum. There's only two real scaling solutions. It's optimistic rollups, and it is ZK rollups. And in my opinion, ZK rollups are slightly better. But I mean, this is up for opinion. This is like a debate that is by opinion because it really depends. There's drawdowns and benefits to both of them. And Optimism's clearly doing very well, and I think a ZK airdrop will perform very well as in general just getting into these getting into these airdrops will just perform very well. And ZK Sync specifically, I do think will be very big. So my advice is you go farm about like 10-15 wallets. Not financial advice. You might not get anything, but I will personally be doing it myself. So that's a heads up. Yeah, so let's get into my watch list. So let's just look at coins of the day. I expect everything sideways. Alright, so, okay, wait, let's look at the weekly really quickly. Literally yesterday, I named 5 projects that go up with Bitcoin. And, I mentioned Litecoin, so I guess Litecoin was wrong. But the other 4 are literally perfect. Bitcoin Cash, Stacks, and Pepe, and Bitcoin SV. Literally the most stupidest projects that just have a higher beta on Bitcoin when Bitcoin pumps, because it's all like the degen just going into it. Now, Near Protocol obviously up 32%. I just explained why. They're literally with Alibaba in China. It's fucking massive. You do see some of these DeFi protocols doing pretty well over last week. On the day, let's see what's down. Alright, so Aave had mean reverted. Aave was up like 50% on the week, and it's mean reverted now 12%. Kava, same thing. Synthetic, same thing. And then other than that, it's like a little bit of mean reversions on some DeFi protocols and because they pumped really hard. Maker's a downly chart. Don't buy Maker. But other than that, yeah, it looks like pretty much like a pretty green day today in the altcoins. Oh, Ethereum Classic. Another one, Ethereum Classic. Ethereum Classic, though, pumps more with ETH. You're going to see ETH do a 3x in a week, and you're going to do Ethereum Classic do a 30x in a week. Sorry, I'm just upset. But I'm not really upset, but it just shows how ridiculous sometimes crypto can be. On my watch list, quick Pendle. Let's look at the weekly. Tour Radix Pendle. Pendle's up a lot right now. Pendle is on my watch list. Pendle is actually my altcoin pick of the day. I'll go into that in a second. It's down a little bit. It was at 74 cents today. Now it's at 67. Let's talk about my portfolio. So let's just DCA and then I'll talk about it after. So obviously, as per usual, $10 into Bitcoin. Pretty standard. 3, 4. Alright, we're just gonna do 3, 3. Alright. Fuck, that's gonna bother the fuck out of me. Alright, wait, there we go. So $10 into Bitcoin. $10 into Ethereum. Oops. 3, 4, 5, 6, 5, 5. Alright, there you go. 0.053. And then my big cap pick of the day, what is it? It is Radix. Why is it Radix? So Radix has performed pretty well since I've actually... Oh, wait. I think it might be up today a lot. I think Radix might be up today a lot. Let me refresh it. All right, maybe it's not. But I put in $10 in Radix right at the beginning of my channel. It was like my third or fourth pick. We're up 40% on that. Fuck, why can't I be up 40% on everything? But today I'm here to show you that... All right, fuck. Let me restart that. Today I'm here to show you that even if a project is up a lot, you can still invest in it. Why? Because even though a project is up, price is reflexive, which means the more it goes up, the more hype it gets, the more traction it gets. Think of like a snowball that you're rolling like a tiny snowball, and then eventually you roll into like this giant snowball during the snow, and then you can make a snowman out of it. Think of it like that. As a project gains traction, you can invest in it. It is still investable. Just because you're not buying the bottom doesn't mean that it's uninvestable. You don't have to look for something that's super low or super down bad. You can look at projects that have already pumped but have a lot of potential. Now, why do I think Radix still has a lot of potential? Radix has a lot of developers on its chain. It has its... So the reason why Radix is pumping is because they do have their mainnet coming out, or not their mainnet. They have their smart contracts coming out very soon. Their fully diluted is 2 billion, so they are already a pretty big project. So I do think their upside is a little limited, but that's why they're my big cap pick of the day. I do think they are gonna rival Solana, rival Sui, rival Aptos, and just to rival Sui and Aptos is already a 5x from here, which I think is very doable. And their smart contracts are coming out for their crypto language, which is a very DeFi, very safe oriented language, which a lot of developers are genuinely using. So Radix are my big cap pick of the day. I'm going to DCA 10 into them today. So let's do that really quickly. 50, 100, 120, 27.3.2. There we go. So yeah, Radix was my pick of the day officially. I can't believe so now I'm no longer up 40%, up 20%, but that's my investment. On the micro caps, my pick is Pendle. Now, Pendle are one of my better performers in my portfolio. They are up about 37% overall, which is quite impressive. Why are Pendle my pick of the day? So Pendle are up a lot, and I do expect, well, they're no longer 73. They're now, oh, I guess they're 72. I don't know what they're at. They're going all over the place. But I do believe in Pendle. The Pendle are, in my opinion, the most innovative DeFi project of this cycle so far. What are other previous innovative projects? I'm talking about Aave, Maker, Uniswap, Synthetics. I consider those very Curve. I consider all those very innovative DeFi projects. And what ended up usually happening on those projects is they got an insane pump where they pumped to a top 50, top 40 token. And then after that, they ended up topping and they ended up going sideways and just down versus ETH over time. Now, I do think Pendle will do something similar, and I do want to catch that insane pump. And even though they're up a lot, if you look at them all-time, right now, from all-time highs, they're low. But if you look at them from the last year, they are at a yearly high right now. But that doesn't mean they're uninvestable. They're still at 144 million market cap. I think they could do an easy 10 to 20x from here. And fully diluted is very low comparatively. So seeing them in a bull run at a $2 billion to $10 billion market cap isn't an insane evaluation. And so I do think it is worth DCAing into them, even though they are at a pretty high valuation. I do think they are the most innovative project, and you are seeing a literal war with them with Equilibriify and PenPy, which, by the way, if you're bullish, Pendle, I'm not going to be personally investing in Equilibria and PenPy because it becomes too many games of who's going to outperform who, and it becomes a headache to me. I don't care about that. While Pendle is the safe, long bet overall. But if you are trying to see if you can get a higher return and more degen return, Equilibria and PenPy are both very good options that can get you that more degen and that higher return. So Pendle is my token pick of the day. Let's DCA 10 into that. So what is that? 12, 13, 14, 13.7. There we go. So we can add transaction. So officially, let's refresh all of the portfolios. Today is day 18 of my DCA portfolio, which means that I have officially spent 40 times 18. So I'm 720 in, so we're about 60 up right now. 60 divided by 720. So again, up about 8%, 8.3%. Bitcoin leading Ethereum lagging behind a lot, and microcaps usually are a high beta on Ethereum, not on Bitcoin. So they're waiting for Ethereum to pump before they will start pumping, because a lot of these tend to be on chain. They're not really on centralized exchanges. So that means that they really need that means they're usually paired versus ETH, and if ETH isn't doing so well, which it's not, then they're not going to end up doing so well unless they're a true outperformer like Pendle, like GMX, so or like Pika. So you're seeing them be pretty slow. Big caps, you are seeing, big caps have performed basically the same as Bitcoin, especially since they are all on exchanges and they're all very accessible. My biggest winner so far is GMX, although I do have a significant percent of my portfolio in it. Overall, my portfolio split is basically 25% Bitcoin, 25% ETH, 7% GMX, 4%, and then you start getting like these other dexes, and you got Pendle, which is pretty innovative. I might put money to Pendle the next few days. Just a heads up, I'm quite bullish on the project. There's always tons of bullish Pendle news. And yeah, that's about it for my all cap picks of the day. Hope you enjoyed that. So let's look at Fuddies. Fuddies are still down only. Fuck. 92 floor. Go pick up a Fuddy. Not financial advice. I'm not sponsored by them, but I have 5 of them, so I am incentivized to tell you to buy them. But I do love them a lot, and I am bullish them long term. So just heads up. Pudgy Penguins. A little bit of sideways action. Yeah, a little bit of sideways. Been pretty boring. Pudgy Penguin calendar. I don't think anything super interesting going on today. Expecting more sideways. Yeah, Tuesday, I guess they have Asia Huddle number 28. So that's tomorrow. You can look out for that. D-Labs. So D-Labs games, I don't know much about them, but they have this game, which is Rumble Racing Star. Looks like Mario Kart. Reminds me very similar. So I've been talking about Obaby Games and their Mario Kart game. They have like 4 or 5 games. But in D-Lab's RRS, you can play as a Pudgy Penguin. I don't know if they only have this Pudgy Penguin or if you can import any Pudgy Penguin. If you can import any Pudgy Penguin, it'd be very cool. But, yeah, so here's some of the gameplay. It's literally Mario Kart, but with some crypto characters. And you can play as a Pudgy Penguin, which is pretty cool. I don't know why there's an HP. I don't really fuck with that. I don't really get the game, actually. But the graphics look okay, and you can play as a Pudgy Penguin, and I love Pudgy Penguins. So, W's. Very interesting. Very, very custom. Yeah, so that's some gameplay. I don't know anything about this game. Obviously, this is a game, and this isn't the gaming corner, so I'll talk about gaming later. Let's talk about more NFT stuff. But interesting Pudgy Penguins that they're in on this project. Azuki, strong roots, weather all storms. So you're seeing Azuki have their elementals. Here's 2 banners, and their banners are always pretty as fuck as always. Their art is fantastic. I will always be bullish Azuki art. However, something that is bearish is their Azuki elementals mint. Now, first of all, remember when I said Azuki's elementals could be potentially bearish? I said it could be before without any information. I said it could be. Why? Because we're in a little bit of a bear market, and if you fumble these mints at all, or if these mints end up being a pump into the mint and then they end up causing a dump, it could end up being pretty bad for price over like the medium term. Although long term, I am probably bullish Azuki's. Now, the reason why over the short and medium, so short term it's bullish. Obviously, it's buy the rumor, sell the news. That's generally why. But the medium term is going to be pretty bearish. Now, other than the fact that it's a 2 Ethereum mint, which is super fucking expensive, as well as it obviously dilutes the ecosystem, and as well as it obviously dilutes the ecosystem, so it means that beans are more likely to lose some value overall since they're an ecosystem NFT. While Azuki, I do expect the Azukis themselves to remain similar in value, not to dump insanely. But something that is bearish is that it is a Dutch auction. I mean, Dutch auction isn't bad, and they probably will end up selling out their 2 ETH mint price. But it is a Dutch auction where it is going to cause dilution of their ecosystem, and beans are able to participate, but it is so expensive that basically what ends up happening is you cap upside when you have very expensive mints, because at the end of the day, it means that you are taking a lot of liquidity from your holders, and if they're down and they want to regain their liquidity back, it can cause a death spiral on the mint, which causes like a little bit of a mess. And then, what else? So basically, this guy's a Beans holder. He doesn't own Azuki. Basically, he's upset because they exclude 2/3 of the community, although Beans are kind of like the lower end. So I don't consider that the main reason to be bearish, but I do think this could end up being messy, as well as the fact that these elementals are probably another PFP project. And meanwhile, beans aren't really as much a PFP project. They're a bean. So I do think that people might prefer to get these over beans, and this could be bearish beans value in the long term overall, because people would rather get an elemental. Especially these elementals have more utility than these beans, because I don't know what the beans utility is. I don't really know what they do other than try to be their own brand. But it could be bearish. Now, again, like you said, long term, I don't really think it matters. I think bullish Azuki is fine, but I do think this could be a little bit of a messy mint. I do expect it to mint out fully. Azukis are one of the biggest projects, but I don't think it'll be a pretty after effect until the actual product for the elementals releases, which I have no idea when that is. Apparently they have like an anime project or something, but other than that, I don't really know much. Hopefully it ends well. I do want an Azuki in the future, but like a normal Azuki, not maybe a beans. Also, the beans are cute, but I don't really know too much about the elementals again, because like what is the point of them right now? They look like just a pure what's the word, non-inflation, a pure dilution to the ecosystem to give more people access, that gets more people access and does raise money for Azukis themselves, the Azuki team. But I don't really know what the actual utility is at the end of the day, so I expect this to be bearish in the medium terms, which could end up causing a good opportunity for you to buy Azukis if you're looking to get in. So that is a heads up. It could end up causing a little bit of a dip, which if you're bullish project long term, which I am, then that's a good opportunity to buy. Now D-Gods, apparently they're on the shirt of what's it called? I think this is the Chicago Bulls. I don't really know. I don't know. I think they have their own team. I don't really know what's going on with D-Gods, but I think they're sponsoring a team. So I guess that's cool. It sounds like a little bit of a waste of capital, but they have tons of capital. D-Gods have a shit ton of Polygon money, so they're free to spend however they want. My ladies have a another, what's it called, a meetup. So I don't know if it's a meetup or necessarily a I thought it was a rave. Maybe it's just a meetup. No, Dallas My Lady meetup. Alright, so just My Lady's meeting up. So that's June 25th. I mean, I would think it's a raise. If it's $10 out of 10 you're charging, it's probably a party. I say meetup as though it's probably not a party. It's probably a party. Crystal Meth is a DJ, I guess. I'm gonna assume. Yeah, I'm gonna assume. Yeah, these are all DJs. So yeah, this is definitely a rave. But in Dallas, so if you're in Dallas, you can go pull up. It's literally tiny victories. I don't know where that is. I don't live in Dallas. I live in New York City area. So just heads up. You're My Lady holder. Polygon migration. So Champions Ascension had their Polygon migration today, 12 p.m. East, which is in actually 12 minutes. So you can go. This will be a a gas-free migration to Polygon. You can migrate your Champions Ascension NFTs, and you should. And it's in order for the ecosystem to become a lot cheaper instead of being on Ethereum, which is a very expensive chain in the long run. And just a good opportunity for you to use it. Just heads up. Also, wait, apparently, I just peeped the comment right there. Apparently, Champion Streaming is coming this Thursday. Stay tuned for more info. Alright, never mind. This is not relevant. I thought you said that macOS is going to be this Thursday. Never mind. Illuvium, as the wave of Web3 games comes crashing in, Jose is diligently testing our updated Ocean ecosystem. So just more Illuvium graphics. All the graphics have been very pretty. Just more graphics to look at as the game comes live over the next short term. And the last gaming news I have is a trailer by Embersword, Explore Solarwood, Embersword Nation Showcase. So let me give you some audio.
Some worlds keep turning. Would you seek a life in the woods?
So here's some of the graphics of how the environment looks like.
Lost potential. Perhaps you will find your place in Solarwood, founded around Burkhalter's Academy.
How many assets are in this village?
Not only challenges the minds of its pupils, but treads a line precariously close.
My ADHD cannot take this. It's too slow.
Not all here is how it seems at first glance.
I don't care about the lore. That's why. But the actual environment looks pretty cool. I've actually played in some of these areas in the alpha playtest. So It is quite fun. I mean, for me, it was just an alpha playtest. I think there's a lot of potential rather than was it like super fun. It wasn't super fun from the alpha, but I think there's a lot of potential. So we're gonna find out. I do own some land, some passes. So that's a heads up. Which, by the way, if you do own one of the passes, you do get access to their tokens because they basically airdrop you tokens. So if you buy their passes aren't IMX, Immutable X. Another reason to be bullish IMX, by the way, they do have a lot of games on there. But yeah, if you look at all these monsters, these mobs that you can battle in game, the music doesn't sound that bad 2x. It sounds too slow, normal. But yeah, there's the Ember Sword trailer. Looks pretty good. And yeah, that's about it for today. I've ran through everything. I've spoken a lot today. Spoken a lot. I think overall we're fairly bullish. Markets are doing quite well. Anybody else has any topics I want to talk about? Might as well go chat in the chat right now. Other than that, I think I'm done checking my. All right, yeah, I think we're done for the day. Not much else to talk about. Super cut and dry stream. I'll have the highlight reel up in like a few hours for anyone who's curious. Oh my god. I'm tired. I don't know why. At the end of these, I always get like super drained. All of a sudden, I'm like, fuck. I'm done. Like, talking gets tiring. But yeah, pretty standard day. Anything else I want to talk about? Not really. So yeah, I guess I'm gonna end broadcast here. Hope everyone enjoyed. It is a Monday. Good luck with work. Good luck with your jobs. Stay safe. Yeah, very solid stream. Very solid stream. Really ran through a lot of information. I need to get on that Lin level though, where I get like fucking bitches on bitches on bitches swiping up onto my shit. On jaw. If I was a woman, I would get so many fucking clicks just saying it right now. If I was a woman saying the exact same things, but whatever. Whatever. I'm just a hater. I'm just a hater. To be honest, I need to advertise better. I need more viewers. Have a good day, everyone. We're gonna be very big in the next 3 months. Mark my word. By the end of the summer, we're gonna be absolutely massive. Gonna be absolutely fucking massive. LARP as a woman. Yo, I'm about to tranny so that I get tons of views as a woman. All right, well, I can't clip that anymore because I just use like a derogatory term. I I don't even mean it like that, but whatever. Anyways, I don't mean it like that. I just said the term. Whatever. Hope everybody has a good day. I'm gonna end the stream here. Adios, amigos. Don't cancel me before I even got started. Enjoy everybody's day. Adios.